Okay, I've got my nice shirt on, necklace out, hair ponied up, and haunted mask at the door. Let's do this. So, session 12 of the D&D 1E campaign. It went alright. It was over a bit quicker than I would have liked, but the party seemed to really enjoy it. They got through another floor of this dungeon I've constructed for them. So if you remember from the last video, they'd gone through a level they'd already been in, into a newer level where they met Gring the Goblin, who helped direct them away from falling down a chasm. So they carry on out of that after taking a short rest and come to a storeroom. Now, I continually ask them what their marching order is, so it wasn't a surprise when I asked them this time. So, when it happened, when they entered the storeroom, I asked them to roll a dexterity saving throw. Narlock, the half-orc thief, Roberto, the halfling bard, and Celadine, the half-elf illusionist, all pass. Oh, as does Tiddles, the dog of Zed, the half-orc cleric. They all pass the dexterity saving throw and get out of the way. Zed, meanwhile, takes a log to the back. The rest of the party all take d4 damage. He takes 2d8 damage. No one is so severely injured they can't continue, but it is a bit of a hit. They then look where this log came from, and there is a secret room in the storeroom that wasn't on the map that they found. They loved that. They go into the room. It is not like the rest of the dungeon, which is all a bit dank and dreary and looks a bit like an old castle. This is like a young girl's bedchamber. It's all pink and white and pretty and pristine. And looking through the place, they find dresses from about 1,000 to 500 years ago. They find makeup, jewellery, and they find a journal. And I had actually written up the page in the journal that could be read, because most of the journal had been given away to rot or been damaged in some way. So they read through the journal and they find out that the girl in this room was a 10-year-old girl who'd been brought here after an attack on her home. There were 4 men looking after her, being very caring, teaching her, educating her, looking after her. And then she finds out about the woman who owned the castle, and she has a son, and the party starts putting 2 and 2 together, and they work out that the son is most likely the big bad evil guy that they met, the man in black, who has the pet dragon. Again, I have to keep reiterating this because the name is really unwieldy. So the dragon is not the same as a dragon, where a dragon is a sort of half lion, half dragon hybrid. They could have come up with something so much better. They could have called it like a lion. Okay, there's very little you can do there unless you call it a cat-winged beast monster. But that's moving on. Reading the journal, they are starting to put 2 and 2 together and getting some ideas. They then read about this thing, Elsa, who appears to be the child's friend, who was brought to her by the dwarf looking after them. They find out of a secret room, they go through the secret passageway, and they enter a library, which they don't know, and I look forward to them watching this video. If they'd gone the other way, they'd have all been impaled by spikes. This was their way out. If they'd been pig-headed or over-searchy, they would have been impaled by spikes. But they didn't. They took the correct route, and they were rewarded for it with a lot of books. A lot of books with a lot of information, some of it pertaining to where they are, some of it just useful in general, and some of it will pertain to things that will happen in the near future. So some of the books were... there was also a collection that Celadine is working on, the Harry Potter series. I believe she needed book 4 and the Frugal Rag Week. Basically, it's my own joke on the Harry Potter series, where it's, because they're in a high fantasy setting, the books are about a accountant going through his life notes. Basically, think the Peep Show if Daniel Radcliffe replaced Robert Mitchell. I think it's Robert Mitchell. Probably not. Doesn't matter. So, they continue onwards after reading these books and come into a fight with 5 troglodytes. The fight was over fairly quick, but I did throw something at them that did surprise them. In Dungeons & Dragons 1E, and I personally thought in 5E as well, because 1E is what I'm used to. I've only just gotten into 5E. 1E had a potion consumption time. So you consume the potion, and it triggers D4 plus 1 phases later. The party didn't know about this yet because no one's used potions yet in combat. So Narlock gets quite low on health, drinks it, and he goes through all the D8. And I was like, D4. It's like, I get D4 health? No, D4 plus 1, that's how many rounds it takes to activate. And they're just shocked. They are like, what? And Zed, who is played by my friend Nick, who is a very experienced GM in his own right, and he has run 5e campaigns a lot, was equally surprised. It's like, 1e, what's going on? This is, And that's when I did say that 5e has that as well, which obviously that caused a small argument at the table, which we resolved fairly quickly. I did later find out it's an optional rule included in some of the Wizards forums. It's not an actual rule, so nobody start using it. It is an asshole DM move. Anyway, they deal with the troglodytes, and that's when Narlock realizes he's in the same dungeon he was in his previous session, in his Zero session, where Rupert was killed. If you remember Rupert, that was the thief that was traveling with Narlock, and in the session before last, we also found out that Rupert was Celadine's birth father, who didn't know that she existed. Go back and watch that to remember why that is a massive thing. I'm not saying that in here because obviously I know my players watch this, and I'm not spoiling crap. They decide to go to where Rupert was killed, and while in there, Zed and Celadine start praying to the memory of Rupert. Very sad, very in character, very beautiful. I loved it. This was like all DM biscuits for me. This is fantastic. This is party drama. I love it. While in there, Roboto found nothing. Narlock found something, and I had to out of RP with him a little bit about what he found, what he wanted to do with it. He's keeping it. I'm not telling anything else. If that comes up, I will do the video. But if it doesn't, it will be one of the things I do in my final roundup. Things the party did in secret that didn't come up in game. Now, if I'm a good DM, it will come up in game. Anyway, they carry on forward, and they make it through. They find a few little loots, little bits and pieces in a side storeroom. They go down some stairs, and there they find 6 orcs, massive orcs, full orcs, not half orcs, who are in full plate armor, massive halberds, and they're all sitting around having a smoke. 2 of them playing cards, a couple of them sharpening their weapons. But they're non-hostile. I make it clear that they're non-hostile before they get in there. And when they get in there, they talk to these orcs. And these orcs inform them that they are the guards of the Fey Market. The unaligned Fey Market. Which is something I like from tropes. I enjoy travelling dungeon markets. And that is what they are now in, and that is where the session ends. They have met the market owner, a gentleman who goes by the name of Trusty Patches. If you play Dark Souls, you know who that is. If you don't, I recommend you play I recommend you watch a Let's Play of Dark Souls. Dark Souls is difficult to get into enough without doing a first lore run. You need to finish the game like 3 times before you do a lore run. So, that is where we've left off. The party has just arrived in the Fey Market in the last level of the dungeon. Next session, they'll be exploring the Fey Market, and then the last level of the dungeon, and then we can wrap up this part of the story and carry on into the wider world. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you are enjoying these videos. Please like and subscribe. Please comment if there's anything you'd like to see different. I don't really have the capacity to do much more than this. Even before, when I was doing like Let's Plays and things like that, this is basically the extent that I am capable of at the moment, due to financial constraints and personal time for commitment. That's just it. So, if there is something you would like to see, and I can do it, please comment. Honestly, if you just comment saying, I hate these videos, this is a guy talking at a screen for 5-10 minutes, do that as well. I don't mind. I just want some kind of engagement. Thanks very much. Bye.